if you want to be perceived and be a great leader, you need to surround yourself with great people. So what I want to share with you is some things that I've learned over the past 20 or so years about hiring best. And in my career, I estimate I probably hired about 250 people. That's a lot of people. I've made some great decisions. I've made some disastrous ones that are true train wrecks. Many of you may be in the same situation here. And over those 20 or so years, I've come up with and helped to develop 5 steps or 5 secrets, as we call them here, that help you to find the right talent. I'm going to spend about 3 slides on each of those. The first is to build a talent bank. And this is different than almost everyone does. Most people, you start looking for someone when you have an opening, and you're already behind the 8 ball then because there's a great deal of pressure. The key here is to really always be interviewing candidates, always be talking with people, always be looking for good talent, whether you have an opening or not. And one of the best places you can engage with new hires is while you're at a conference like this, because that's where a lot of the talent is. And so you want to be trying to meet as many people as you can to network, to look at future hires. So what happens then finally when you do have an opening? Well, you have a bit of a bench, a group of people to look at. And it's a good starting point, much better than saying, okay, time to put an ad on LinkedIn. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to develop a top-notch internship program. This is one of the smartest things we've done in our company. We have 6 interns working at DCI pretty much around the year. And we focus on recent graduates with the idea that if we like them, we can hire them immediately. So what you see here is a photo of our entire DCI team, 45 people. And in advance of this session here, I went back and I looked at how many of them started out as interns. And what I found out is 11 of them did. So this would be our company if we didn't have the internship program. So a full 25% of our staff comes from the internship program. That's very, very powerful. So next step, number 3, you get into the interview process. And you want to be asking tough questions. You want to identify, here are the traits that I'm looking for, and then you want to ask probing questions that test for that trait. So if you were looking for the creativity trait, we call it here the innovator trait, this would be the type of questions you'd ask. You wouldn't ask, are you creative? You're not going to learn anything that way. If you ask this question, the person says, I'm an idea generator, that tips you off that they are likely in that category. Another trait here, an example, is the values trait. When we were hiring a CFO, I asked the 8 finalist candidates this question: is it ever justifiable to lie to a client about why something is late? And 6 of them said yes, 2 of them said no, I hired one that said no. Require a dozen references. The FBI requires 5. We require a dozen, and we call them all, and you get just a much bigger picture. When you talk to them on the phone, we always like to ask what I call the magic wand question. Imagine I've given you a magic wand. You can change one trait about John that would make him a more effective team member. What would you change? Now, you usually get a long pause after you ask that question. No one wants to answer to that. No one wants to say anything bad about a person. You want to press for an answer, and you said, listen, nobody's perfect, neither is John. What could he or she do better? So that's my 4th one. So we're up to, I think, number 5, if we're counting right here. Let's see what that is. Good. Get an outside opinion. So after we've come up with the finalist candidate, the person we want to interview, we turned to a company called Talent Plus. Ron Kitchens of Southwest Michigan first turned me on to this company. They do a 30 to 45-minute telephone interview with them, and they give us a report like this one here. It sort of looks at 10 key traits, and it tells us how they compare versus top performers versus average performers. And they give us a recommendation. This person is approved for hire. This is a good hire. Or they give us this report. Looking at this person, they're not recommended for hire. And you can see what the shortcomings are. So those are the 5 steps. I know they've been very, very effective for our company and for me in making the decisions. Just to sum them up real quickly: build a talent bank, develop a top-notch internship program, ask tough questions in the interview, require a dozen references, and finally get an outside opinion. Have I done this right? This is slide 19. Slide 20, good. Happy hiring in 2013. I welcome any other questions or discussion about this. I'm very passionate about this topic. Would love to talk to anyone about it. Thank you very much.